The first thing to say is that the process has been, in our view, appalling. This is a significant bill. It's a contentious policy proposal, and the timeframe for its consideration by both the public but also the Parliament has been extremely limited. So Australians were given 24 hours to be able to make a submission on this bill, and then it was considered very quickly by the relevant committee before being put before the Parliament. And in our view, there's no justification for that accelerated timetable. And in fact, it's remiss of the Parliament to not require that there be greater scrutiny and time for reflection and to hear evidence from the community when dealing with such a significant policy issue. I am the parent of a young child. I am very conscious and concerned about how my child will live his life in online spaces. I'm profoundly aware of the dangers of large social media platforms running a certain kind of business model that prioritizes data extraction and exploitation of vulnerability over the public interest or the building of community and the protection of democracy. I'm alive arguably more than most about the serious risks posed by social media platforms. But I do not support a ban personally because I understand both the limits of that particular policy and the expert evidence that is coming out from people who work in this space about the problems for young people being excluded from those spaces. I also think there's very significant privacy concerns for all Australians who may, in fact, be required to give up some of their privacy in pursuit of this particular policy. It is for that reason that I have been a strong advocate for privacy reform. I think if this government is interested in protecting young people, they would target data extractive business models and exploitation of young people's personal information by large platforms and advertisers, which causes a huge amount of harm and problems online. More generally, our organisation does not support a ban for a variety of different reasons. Firstly, it is not clear how this ban will be implemented. There remain a very large number of questions about what this will look like, and the government has largely deferred these questions. So there's a lack of clarity around what the proposal will be. Secondly, experts who work with young people, particularly in relation to things like mental health, have expressed serious concerns about this proposal, the fact that we are limiting young people from accessing services that may in fact be very important to their health and well-being, especially if they're in a home environment that may not be supportive of them. I think it is our obligation to consider those negative impacts and work out how we can accommodate them or deal with them in the course of making policy around young people's access to social media. I would also say that I think it's a very serious privacy interference for the majority of people who use social media that will have to have some obligation imposed upon them by platforms who will be placed under an obligation to seek age assurance. Some of the questions around what that age assurance technology will be remain open, and there is a serious concern that platforms may resort to using biometric information in order to assess people's ages. And we remain very concerned about the privacy implications of that, especially in a context in which Australia's privacy laws are decades out of date. So you're looking at implementing further technology to verify people or assure a social media platform of people's ages in circumstances where our privacy laws aren't up to scratch. And I think many Australians remain concerned about a requirement to hand over further information to those platforms.